Hello everyone, I'm Skratch. Welcome to the channel. This is another Raid Shadow Legends video. Hope you guys are having an amazing day, and we are currently on the test server, guys. That means that we're gonna have a look at a bunch of new champions that were added to the game, but we're not gonna check every single one of them. We're gonna focus on one of the new Void Legendary champions, and that is no one else but Vitrius. Vitrius The Anointed. Now I know so many people have very high hopes for this champion. They're saying this right here is our very first counter to champions like Yumeko, to champions like Warlord. This Vitrius is about to change the game, is about to change everything. And you've seen it in the thumbnail. This champion is broken, okay? Now keep in mind, the meaning of broken means that it doesn't work, okay? Broken doesn't work. You can use it in different contexts where the word broken means wow, extremely amazing. That's not the case in today's video, but we're gonna test the champion and you guys are gonna get to make your own opinion based on what you're seeing. It seems to be the champion that is trying to defeat Mitrala. I don't think you stand a chance against Mitrala Vitrius. I'm sorry to tell you that. Honestly, you just don't stand a chance. Now all around, he seems very good. 1707 attack, right? Very nasty base attack. And we have pretty good stats all around on him. The defense is a bit low for a Void Legendary, but the rest of the stats are not too bad. 100 speed. With the A1 attacks one enemy 2 times. Holy terror. The first hit heals this champion by 30% of the damage inflicted. The second hit has a 65% chance of placing a fear debuff for 1 turn. If the target is a boss, the second hit has a chance to land decreased speed for 2 turns instead. Pretty interesting move right there. And if we are talking about the multipliers, guys, because I feel like that's a very important part. So this skill right here, Vitrius A1, has a 1.7 multiplier, okay? 1.7. I'm not going to tell you if that's good or bad. You're going to see once we're going to test the damage. The A2, Storm of Righteousness, on a 4-turn cooldown fully booked, attacks all enemies. Before attacking, removes all increased defense, ally protection, and strengthen buffs from all enemies. This effect cannot be resisted. This to me sounds like bah, bah. Let me know if you think that is the same sound that you're hearing when you're reading this skill. Will also ignore 30% of each target's defense, boosts this champion's turn meter by 30% for each enemy alive after the attack. I like this part right here. 30% ignore defense, awesome stuff. Get turn meter for each enemy alive after the attack. I like that too, in case if the support champions survive, allowing him to rotate much faster. So this, so far, in my opinion, is a strong skill, right? Removes all the buffs. Polymorph just kills so many champions. Polymorph literally vaulted more champions than I can count in a lifetime, okay? Let me just put it like that to be a bit sarcastic with that. But honestly, Polymorph is a big counter to most of the champions. And they're constantly releasing champions that are hardly countered by Polymorph. And I'm always wondering why. Why? So when you remove these buffs, it can be good against counters to champions like Necret, champions like even Mitrala because of the increased defense and strengthen. Of course, from Necret, you're only going to remove the strengthen. His ally protection cannot be removed. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's very risky to get polymorphed by this. The multipliers on this skill, which is an AoE for a Void Legendary on a 4-turn cooldown, is a 3.1 attack, okay? 3.1. Then you have the A3, by my hand, on a 4-turn cooldown, fully booked on a 3-turn cooldown, attacks one enemy 2 times. The first hit destroys the enemy's max HP by 25% of the damage dealt. Cannot destroy a single enemy's max HP by more than 75%. Now if the target is a boss, destroys the max HP equal to 35% of the damage dealt. The second hit will ignore 30% of the target's defense if they have no active skills on cooldown. Pretty interesting. So if we're taking a turn before they get to move, we ignore 30% of the target's defense. If we are slower and we let the opponents to take a turn, if the target has any active skills on cooldown, ignores 50% of the target's defense. Wow, a lot of defense, right? Very interesting. Then ignore shield, unkillable, and block damage buffs. That sounds very interesting, very useful against a lot of champions, right? That will buff, useful against Helicats, useful against champions that just bring in a bolster set. So this sounds like a very powerful skill as well. And the multipliers on him, 2.5 attack on this skill. So that sounds like, again, multipliers, right? Interesting stuff. The passive instantly resets the cooldown on one of these champions' random active skills whenever an enemy increases the cooldown of any of their skills. So that's very, very interesting because you don't know what you're getting. You might get the A2 back, you might get the A3 back, so that's decent, right? Then grants an extra turn if a skill's cooldown was reset after granting an extra turn. Places this skill on cooldown. So this will be on a 5-turn cooldown, this passive, okay? But it's a pretty interesting one. Then will also grant an extra turn if an ally, mastery, artifact set, or accessory decreases the cooldown of any of these champions' skills. After granting an extra turn, places this skill on cooldown. So that means if you have the right masteries on him, like a Cycle of Magic, the 5% chance might proc, or you might deal enough damage on a target to decrease the cooldown of the skill with the other mastery, or you might have a reflex set on him, you might have a refresh accessory. All that will grant this bad boy an extra turn, allowing you to do some serious work. Then, of course, you have the aura, increases ally crit rate in all battles by 24%. If you reset with Kaimar, if you reset with Yumeko, everything will basically grant him an extra turn. Sounds very, very good. Let's have a quick look at the build. Vitrius The Anointed. I got him on a Savage and a Cruel set. I actually gave the gear from my Tour Vault to this bad boy, and total stats we have 34k HP, almost 8,200 attack, lots of attack, 1,600 defense because his base defense is low, 180 speed, full crit rate, 305 crit damage, no accuracy, no resistance whatsoever. In terms of masteries, we have offense and defense 3, Helm Smasher as tier 6 to proc that extra ignore 25% defense. Cycle of Violence will help to decrease the cooldown of his skills. I haven't went with support just to get Cycle of Magic. He doesn't really benefit from the support tree from anything else except the Cycle of Magic, so I found it a bit irrelevant to go with that. I chose to go with Retribution instead, get a counter attack every now and then. So that's my Vitrius. So let's give him a go on stage 23 on the dragon, guys. You know what? I'm not going to bring defense down. We're going to see a bit the damage. We're going to see as well the animations on him. So let's go. We're going to start with the AoE attack. So let's pay attention to the numbers. 86k on these ones, 160k on the left side. So that was pretty good. On Lua, he actually dealt less damage. But on the rest, that was actually a pretty decent damage, right? And right now, because we haven't killed nobody, we gained so much turn meter that we overlap the entire team again. So now we're going to be able to move on with this skill. Attacks one enemy 2 times. They have no active skills on cooldown, so we will ignore 30% of the target's defense. 49k, 82k. Probably Helm Smasher procced on the second. So that's how we're looking with anime. The animations are not that insane. I kind of like the one from the A2, but the one from the A3 feels pretty quick sauce, you know? Should be able to overlap the opponents, actually, if I'm not mistaken. We're fast enough to do it, so we can go with A1 now. 21k, 35k, but then we had no increased attack now. So let's go in again, just to use the other skills. So let's start with the A3 to see it better. So let's go on this Faceless. 67k, 74k. Pretty good. Pretty good, actually. We can't really complain about that. And then we're going to go with A1. We're going to go on Lua. A1, let's see. 35k, 34k. We landed the Fear. Pretty nice stuff there. Now let me just bring in a different champion. You know what? Let me just bring in a different champion. I'm not even going to bring Alika. This time around, we're actually going to bring Dirandil. Dirandil, for whoever is not familiar, attacks one enemy, will ignore 50% of the target's defense. One hit, simple, that's about it. Attacks all enemies, will ignore 15% of each target's defense on a 3-turn cooldown. And when we are talking about total stats on my Dirandil, 6.5k attack, 225 crit damage, okay? And he's on Savage and Cruel. So let's see what damage would a Durandil do against the same team, basically, against the same champions. So let's start with the AoE attack. Attacks all enemies. Okay, 99k, 56k. We're gonna give it another go. Maybe Hammer Smasher didn't proc here and there, which is fine. Let's use this skill, for example. So this is the A3. 161k hit. Pretty damn nice, right? For an epic champion. 161k. Actually looks very good. Let's come back again. Let's come back again and do it another time because I want to see that AoE again. 93k, 60k here and there. So the AoE is not as impressive, right? He only ignores 15% of the target's defense. Let's bring them, both of them, in together. We have two of the same targets. Let's check them out. So if we're gonna have another look at the stats, I have Cruelty on Durandil. That's not gonna affect my initial hit. 6.5k attack, 225 crit damage, right? Durandil, epic champion. Then we have Vitrius. Total stats, 8,200 attack. So we have 1,700 more attack on Vitrius than we have on Durandil. And we have 80 crit damage more than we have on Durandil. Okay, so keep that in mind. This is a Void Legendary. We are looking at a non-Void epic champion, okay? So if we're gonna attack the same target, basically, we're gonna put the increased attack. So we have two Arbalesters, one on the right, one on the left. And we go with the A3. So attacks one enemy, will ignore 50% of the target's defense on a 4-turn cooldown. And let's go. 249k. Pretty damn good, actually, right? Pretty damn good. Then we go in with Vitrius by my hand. And we're gonna go on the other target. 81k, 109k. And the target is still standing. And I can tell you that this hits proc Hammer Smasher because I've done this thing 20 times before. So he proc Hammer Smasher, Durandil, he did it. Vitrius proc Hammer Smasher, and his target is still standing. Void Legendary, epic champion. Void Legendary, epic champion. Void Legendary has 1,700 more attack and 80 crit damage than the epic champion. And this is the result that you're getting from a Void Legendary champion. So that's what I meant when I said this champion is broken, because it really is, in my opinion. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you think? If we're gonna check him in Arena, guys, that's where we're really gonna see if he's a good counter against Warlord, Yumekos. At the moment, there are not many people that have those champions in their defense. Is old school, so we're gonna try his team. Not the most ideal one because it's Harima and UDK, but you know what? Those are pretty much everywhere in the high-end arena. So we're gonna see if this champion can compete with other champions like Georgid, Baron, Turvold, Quintus the Triumphant. I showed you his damage, guys, because I wanted you guys to have a better understanding on how he would compare with an epic champion, okay? You've seen the results right there. You've seen the difference in stats that they had, which are mind-blowing, right? He had 1,780 more crit damage than the epic champion, and he underperformed. The epic champion dealt more damage. Now, the one thing to keep in mind here as well, guys, is that if you haven't enjoyed the sarcasm there, it's fine, but I loved it, okay? Because I really wanted to point out what weak sauce champions they're actually releasing for the last few months, and they're just diluting the pool constantly, making it much harder for us to get the champions that matter, like Marichka, Taras, Baron, Georgid, Warlord, Leorius, etc., you know? So I just wanted to point that out. If we're gonna go against his team, we're gonna need Necro to protect him. If not, he's gonna be dead meat, okay? So let's see how well will his passive play out. Yumeko is gonna lock us. Okay, so we got lock, we got the extra turn, we have the AoE available. Now this one attacks all enemies. We'll remove all the buffs. Of course, we're not gonna be able to remove the protected buffs, but we're gonna remove some of them. And we're gonna ignore 30% of the target's defense. We're gonna get 30% turn meter for each enemy alive. So that means that we could potentially rotate back into another skill, which sounds pretty interesting on paper. Let's see. Okay, so we removed some buffs, but only from Yumeko, so the chance of getting polymorphed is none because I don't think his Yumeko has ship, yeah, so that's fine. Then we rotated to this skill. I think what happened, the master is procced as well, decrease the cooldown of the skill because this was locked. So now we can use this, for example, on Harima. Let's just go. The first hit on UDK, second goes on a Harima 17k, pretty good. So we got the Harima low now. Let's buff with increased attack so we have it ready for the next round. Now the one thing that will happen, right now we got the first turn because Yumeko locked us. His skill is on a 5-turn cooldown, the passive that will enable us to get an extra turn whenever we're gonna get locked again. What's gonna happen again is that Yumeko is probably around 350, 400 speed. That's the range of where the Yumekos are at the moment, some of them over 400 speed. So what does it mean is that Yumeko will overlap us quite a bit. And because she will overlap us, she's gonna get the lockout skill before he's gonna get his passive cooldown back. So next time when we're gonna get locked, which probably you're gonna see in a second, we're not going to gain an extra turn from the passive because we got overlapped like crazy. And that's gonna happen unless you're building your champion with 300 speed as well, which is a bit hard to do it and get some damage out of him considering the multipliers and what you've seen in the dragon run, you know. But let's just go on and see what we can do here. We did manage to gain the extra turn, you know, which kind of like put the passive on a 2-turn cooldown now, so that might give us a chance. Of course, you can always target to kill a champion like Yumeko or Warlord first. I would suggest you to do that, but just for the purpose of the video, for the test, I wanna leave that for the last, you know. So let's do that. Okay. She put hacks on us, that's fine, not a problem. So we got locked again, no extra turn. You see, we got overlapped so bad. And that's gonna happen all the time. You probably notice it when you are in a fight, like Yumeko Warlord overlaps you a lot. But that's fine, let's just say that's not necessarily a problem. The main issue that we're gonna have here is dealing enough damage to kill his team. So we're gonna attempt to kill that Harima fast, because if we take Harima down, I should be able to basically kill the rest of his team fast after, right? Like, you take Harima down, and the rest, they have no protection, and we ignore that defense, we just completely obliterate the team. Because Harima's passive is not there to keep them safe, basically. But the main issue is, are we gonna stay alive that long, or we're gonna get obliterated by the Harima before we even get to move? Because we have the skills locked now. So A1, that UDK, of course, is not ideal in the enemy team. But you know what? UDK is everywhere. UDK is everywhere, and he's definitely the GOAT right now in the arena. He is the meta. People think that Marichka Taras is the meta. I'm not saying he's not, but Marichka and Taras are not as powerful without UDK, so keep that in mind. Marichka and Taras are not as powerful without Polymorph. We finally killed her. Okay, she's back. We killed her, but she's back. She's gonna kill him now. I have a feeling she's gonna oh, we survived. He went down. But that's the problem, man. We cannot kill the team, okay? And this was an example. Let's look for a team that maybe doesn't have Harima, doesn't have UDK. And it's not a bad thing to get that extra turn from a Yumeko at the beginning, or a Warlord when they lock you. But what's gonna happen? You're gonna have the A2, the A3. You're not gonna be able to kill anybody because they might either have a stone skin, they might be protected in a way, they might have a shield, they might have reaction. So you're not gonna one-shot their nuker either if they have reaction, okay? Keep that in mind too. And the problem is that you wasted that turn from the passive, and you're not gonna have it next time when you get locked, when you could potentially kill somebody because they have no more stone skin, they have no more reaction, and you've just wasted that at the beginning, and you haven't countered nothing. You haven't really changed nothing in the fight, you know? So that's the main look, Deadwood Jedi, we have a basher. I mean, if we don't beat this team with what we have right here, I don't know who are we going to beat, you know? We're even gonna put increased attack. Look, that basher is a bit slow. I'm even gonna put the veil on. I'm not gonna ally attack now, I'm gonna wait. Basher, come on. Okay, so there we go. Extra turn, we have this available. So you see, stone skin, shield. Let's see what's gonna happen. We have increased attack too. We broke the stone skin on them, which is good. we broke the stone skin. We haven't killed him here on the side. I think we got a weak hit on him because of reaction probably. So you've seen basically what's happening on a epic champion that has reaction. You don't kill him with a hit, you know. And we just broke the shield. We did broke the stone skin on the other two though. But it won't really dictate the fight. Like, you won't be winning the fight just because of that turn that you're getting at the beginning. And that was a team that had no damage reduction whatsoever. Now, if we're going to go against a team like this, not a lot of damage reduction. And what I'm going to do instead, I want to bring in a Kymar, for example. I think I have him in the vault. And this is a damage Kymar. I bet he's going to deal more damage at the end of the fight than the new champion here. Okay. So right now, look, we have a chance to steal quite a few buffs, right? We can steal this. Actually, all the strength is protected. We cannot. Ignore me. Ignore me. Let's see if we do this. Not enough accuracy. Let's go with the ally attack. Okay, 19k. Plus we broke the shield. Decent. Let's put our champion on. So I think I'm going to use this. That Duchess took a turn. I should be able to ignore 50% of her defense, right? And do a lot of damage. Because we have increased attack too. So let's see. Nice. 72k and 45k. But the main thing that matters is that she's down. Now, right now, we actually got an extra turn because we decreased the cooldown of the skill with the masteries. So we activated the passive. This is nice. I actually like this. Is almost like having a relentless and savage at the same time. So let's use the AoE. Okay, decentish damage considering that we had strengthen on them, but there's no damage reduction whatsoever in this team. No damage reduction whatsoever, okay? So keep that in mind. Damn, I wish I would have had A2 available now to steal the ally protection. Let's try to hit that Marichka. Okay, she's down 42k, and I'm not 100% sure exactly what we got there. Reset the cooldowns of the skills. We're not getting an extra turn because we don't have the passive on, but we can ally attack and kill that Duchess quick. Okay, so we got her down. You can use him. I feel like the champions that they're releasing recently, I feel like they're just more for live arena maybe. They're trying to change a bit the play style of live arena, like focus on fast champions. Champions that might quickly take a turn, kill the nuker. Reaction is still a problem. Stone skin will still be a problem. So I don't necessarily think that it's gonna be very amazing. Like, if you don't ignore stone skin these days, it's pretty hard to get a lot of value out of your champion. And it's not that we want everybody to hit as strong as George did. We would like to see champions to hit decent enough. And if they are Void Legendaries, to leave at the title of Void Legendary. That's my main argument, because if they're constantly diluting the pool with Void Legendaries that are looking good on paper, the kits sound interesting, but the multipliers are weak, similar with the mythical champions. They have very weak multipliers, like they're barely anything special, you know? So that was all for this video. I do want to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think of this champion? Appreciate all of you guys watching, and I'll catch you all soon in the next one. Peace.